You can feel it. A little chill in the morning air, briskness against your skin in the morning. The lawn isn't growing as fast as it used to. It crunches a little more under your feet. Leaves on the trees are starting to turn different shades of color, away from the bright greens. School's starting. Hear the school bus engines roar in the distance. Everything, it seems, is slowing down a little, except one thing. It's a staple of this time of year, always has been. Sounds of grunts and growls, a lot of pushing and shoving, and absolutely no holding. Hard workers preparing for a job. A lot to do, a lot to show, a lot to prove. Hard lines, hash marks, X's and O's, a lot of film, and just plain old hard work. And they can use these lessons throughout life. It's the season we've all been expecting. Hello everybody, I'm David Sullivan. Welcome to high school football at Riptide on the River. This segment is brought to you by the National Guard.
Hi, I'm Randy Neely. I'm sitting in for David Sullivan today. We're here at Riptide on the River. We'd like to thank our sponsors, Luxon Patterson, Luxury Pets, and Hopper's Jewelry. Again, we're here at Riptide on the River. Welcome to the Bert Browne Show. Coach, good to see you again today.
You too.
Got a couple of games since the last time that we met, about September 2nd, September 9th. First game was against Mercer County. Tell us how that game went and what you liked about it and what you think your kids learned from the first week to the second week.
Well, I thought that, you know, we came out and defensively we played a pretty good football game, and offensively we did some things. It took us a little bit to get going. Defensively, I think we picked 4 passes off, had a fumble recovery, so we got 5 turnovers there, but we turned the ball over 3 times, and you know, that's just something that we can't do. It costs you. Anytime you turn the ball over and the other team is able to capitalize on it, you know, you're in trouble. But luckily we ran the football. We had 518 yards total offense. I think we threw for 189 yards, and so it was a great thing to get a road win for this program right now. You know, go over there and in a hostile environment and win a football game. But you know, our kids played well. There's still a lot of things that we need to work on and that we've been working on. So, but it was a good win for us.
Sure. But what happened between the first week and the second week, especially defensively? See where you just gave up 7 points.
Well, you know, the first week we played, we weren't. That first half really is what got us against Letcher Central. They're running the speed option, and our outside backers aren't taking the tailback, and they hurt us right there. They pinned us inside, and you know, took the ball to the house a couple times there. Got big gains out of it, so once we had a halftime adjustment, talked to them about that stuff, talked to them on the sideline about it, finally got that worked out. But there's so much that happens between the first week and the second. Second week we were open, and you know, open week's okay after a win, but after a loss you really want to get back out there the next Friday and play. You know, we're getting better every week. You know, you see improvement every week, things that you can do better. Defensively, against Mercer County, we saw a lot of things that we could do better. offensively against Mercer County. There was things that we needed to do better, to come off the ball better offensively and up front, and do some things blocking at wide receiver, things like that, taking care of the ball in the backfield. But you know, it's a process, and you get better every week, and I think it's what our kids are doing.
And you got a young team, a team that's growing each week and each year, I guess, since this is your second year. That open week, like you say, helps coming off a win, but I guess coming off a loss, you can still learn from it, build on it. Is it easy to get kids motivated, keep kids motivated?
Anytime you come off of a loss, it's much better to practice after a win. You know how that goes. I mean, you get in there after a win and everybody's excited, and everybody's excited to be there. And you know, our kids last year were very resilient. We won the first football game, didn't win another one, but we had some real good practices, and the kids, you know, I was happy the way they responded. And we've done that for the most part this year. You know, it's kind of a struggle right after that first game, knowing that you don't play the next Friday and you got to be out there. I gave them Monday. We came in and watched film and let them go to the house and didn't practice Monday. But we watched a lot of film that open date, and so but they're responding, and we're getting better, and it is a process. We are a junior-dominated football team, and so you know, I know that last year was really the first year that we really played a full JV schedule here in a long time, so that helps.
We'll be right back after these messages.
We'd like to thank our sponsors: Luxury Pets, the home of the happy dogs; the law firm of Luxon and Patterson; Riptide on the River Restaurant; Hopper's Jewelry; Jerry Goebel State Farm Insurance Richmond; Dr. Dan Sipples Chiropractic Healthcare; Central Bank; Williams Tax and Financial Services; Regal Beagle Downtown Richmond; ERA Professional Hometown Services; Hall & Sons Auto Care; Be a Children's Champion; Reynolds Plumbing; Skipworth Veterinary Clinic; Super Save; Sight Savers Family Eye Care; Mackenzie Morgan Music; Davenport Custom Guitars, your local repair connection; First Gear in Richmond; Guardian Bank, home of the $250 deal. Listen to The John Clark Show on WWAG Radio, real country playing stars and legends.
Hello, I'm David Sullivan.
And I'm Tommy Floyd, Superintendent with Madison County Schools.
We'd like to introduce you to two new high school sports programs. Watch the new Madison Central High School Football Coaches Show with Bert Browne and the Madison Southern High School Football Show with John Clark.
The shows will air on Madison County Schools Channel 9, as well as Time Warner Cable Channel 5.
Get in-depth thoughts and comments from coaches and players throughout the season. So if you enjoy local high school sports and the value and character they build, join us.
Because every student counts.
Welcome back to the show. We're here at Riptide on the River. We'd like to thank our sponsors, Luxury Pets and State Farm Insurance, Jerry Goebel in Richmond. Coach, we'll talk about last Friday night's game versus the Scott County Cardinals. Always been a rival through the years. Always have a good team. That coach does a fantastic job. We rival in football, basketball, baseball, chess, whatever we play. I'm sure Scott County, we want to beat them all the time. But tell us a little bit about what happened during the game. No, the outcome didn't come in your favor, but what did you see maybe positive that you could take into next week's game?
You know, the thing about Scott County is Coach McKee's been over there 15 years, I guess, around that, and he does a great job. I mean, he is one of those very thorough football coaches, and they're a weight room getting after it team like we are now and we want to be. And you could just see before the football game, I was looking at their kids, and you could just see the years that they've been in that weight room and the hard work that they've done since they were in the 8th grade on. I mean, he really does a great job there. That's something that that we're doing here. We're getting those 8th graders in that weight room in the off season and the 9th graders in there. You know, they're a heck of a football team, and I'll be honest with you, I don't think they'll lose another ball game in the regular season.
They're that good.
They're that good. I think that they can beat anybody they play. You know, we had our chances. We had our chances early. You know, I was showing the kids. You know, one of the things that we've got to do is we got to learn how to win.
Right.
You know, everywhere I've been and I've taken over a program that's down, it's all about teaching those kids how to finish, how to win, how to work hard in the off season. You know, there's a lot of things that go into it, but you know, first play of the football game, you know, I knew through watching film that we were going to have a mismatch when we went out trips, and you know, got Dominique one-on-one with an outside backer that wasn't nearly as fast.
Right.
We ran a little wheel right out of the backfield, and he's wide open for 6. Our first offensive play, and we don't get it blocked up front, and Hunter has to scramble. He completes a pass, but it's for 12 yards. When you play a football team like that, you got to take advantages of things. When you can score, you got to score.
Right.
Second play, we don't read the option right. Was going to be a huge play for us. So the first series of offense, we had our chances, and we faked that punt, and he's wide open, and just don't get that done. Defensively, first play of the game, we give up a bootleg bomb, and our safety doesn't get it back over the top. But those are things that it's a learning process for our kids to understand that, hey, we got to take care of our business here. Anytime you play a team of that caliber and that well coached, when you have opportunities, you've got to make them happen. You know, we had a pick for a touchdown that they called us for a clip, which wasn't a clip after you watch it on film, and you know, that's a huge momentum shift. Right there, we picked that pass off and take it to the house. It's tied up, and then we get on a punt that hit one of their kids in the heel, and they said it didn't hit him in the heel, and it's plain as day on film, and the kid knew it hit him because he took off running after the football, and we got on that. They didn't give it to us, so you know, those are things you got to overcome. But we've had 5 touchdowns called back in the last game and a half, and then we don't get the break right there. So it seems like when you're winning, those are the kind of breaks you get.
Right.
But I let those guys know that that ball hit that kid, but they weren't going to reverse that call. We didn't have any. I wish we had instant replay. But anyway, I was proud of our kids. I told them after the football game that we played a better football team than us. I mean, the facts are the facts. They are a better football team at this point in the season than we are. Now, if we see them down the road in the playoffs, we're going to be a much better football team then. But they, you know, Scott County has got a heck of a football team, and I told the kids, you know, when you play those teams, just like I said earlier, you got to take advantages of situations, because they're not going to have many mental breakdowns. They're not going to turn the ball over many times. So those are the kind of things that you've got to make happen when you get the chance to.
When the average fan is looking at the football game, you were a former college quarterback. Most of the people look at the quarterback skill positions. O-line and D-line make an unbelievable difference.
Oh, yeah.
You mentioned the weight room, kids lifting weights, going through a middle school program, being taught the fundamentals. You see that's the biggest, I guess, strength that some of these big teams have is their O-line, D-line.
Oh, yeah, and especially at our level in 6A football, your O-line, D-line needs to be very strong, because you're playing football teams that are very strong, and you could just, I mean, even the average fan, I think, could stand down there and watch Scott County come on that field and look at their kids and tell that they've been in that weight room 4 or 5 years.
Right.
And that makes a massive difference, especially up front. And we got kids, you know, Dalton Gross squats 400 pounds, Jamel Chenault squats 475 pounds, Brandon Tevis squats 475 pounds. We've done a remarkable job in the weight room, our kids have, but we've got to put those together. Like this coming 8th grade bunch that's going to be freshmen next year, when football season's over, if they're not playing basketball, baseball, they need to be over there lifting. and because that makes a massive difference, and our freshmen going to be lifting.
Right.
And so I think those are the things on down the road that you know, you plant a fruit tree and it's going to take it a little while to get fruit,
Right.
and then it's going to become plentiful, and that's the kind of things that we're trying to get going.
Yeah, you spoke about 6A football. We're not talking about 200-pound linemen with arms the size of mine. We're talking about 6A football, which is big boy football. Trinity out of Louisville, they're ranked 4th nationally. That's some big boy football. You know, is it just by hard work, just by coaching, getting those kids ready to play each Friday?
Well, I think that here, you know, we've got the athletes, we got the football players. We're a great school system, big high school. Always have had great athletes at Madison Central, always have. And I was telling the kids the other day after practice, I said, you know, I called all over the state. I sent every head football coach in the state of Kentucky an email wanting to play. And people don't want to play Madison Central. I begged people to play. So we were 1-10, and I told them, I said, we were 1-10 last year. I'm not playing you,
right,
you know.
right.
And these other teams you see get some of these cupcake games on their schedule, and it's just hard to do. You know, because people understand what we have in our school system, the athletes we have, and you know, we've never won a region championship, which we're going to do, and we're going to do that soon. But people understand what kind of football players have come out of this school, and it's a commitment by the coaching staff. You know, you have got to get in the weight room in the off season, and you know, it might be beautiful in the spring and 72, and I want to go play golf. But I'm thinking about the fall. You know, I'm in that weight room we're in there till 5:30, 6 o'clock sometimes.
Right. You spoke about the region. You currently sit 0-1 in the region. Tell us about some of the teams that you face each week. Talking about cupcakes, there's not a cupcake on the schedule. So, what do you have to deal with? You know, each week it's kind of like being in the SEC East or SEC West. You don't have a week off, and it just builds. No,
you're always playing football teams that have athletes. You're not going to have very many mismatches at this level because everybody's got athletes, and you've got to, as a coach, you got to scheme people up, and then the off season. The off season is a major thing, in my opinion.
We'll be right back after this, but first we're going to take a look at our student athlete showcase.
We'd like to thank our sponsors: Luxury Pets, the home of the happy dogs; the law firm of Luxon and Patterson; Riptide on the River Restaurant; Hopper's Jewelry; Jerry Goebel State Farm Insurance Richmond; Dr. Dan Sipples Chiropractic Healthcare; Central Bank; Williams Tax and Financial Services; Regal Beagle Downtown Richmond; ERA Professional Hometown Services; Hall & Sons Auto Care; Be a Children's Champion; Reynolds Plumbing; Skipworth Veterinary Clinic; Super Save; Sight Savers Family Eye Care; Mackenzie Morgan Music; Davenport Custom Guitars, your local repair connection; First Gear in Richmond; Guardian Bank, home of the $250 deal. Listen to The John Clark Show on WWAG Radio, real country playing stars and legends.
This segment is brought to you by the National Guard.
I swim here at Winchester for the Bluegrass Marlins and Madison Central High School.
And How long have you been swimming?
I've been swimming since about 2nd grade, so it's about 10 years now.
What got you started in swimming?
Well, actually my sister started swimming first, and then I saw her swim fast in the pool and I wanted to beat her, so I just kept on to start on the swim team, and then eventually I just got really into it.
Alright, give me some awards that you've won in the past.
Some awards I've won is, last year I got 2nd place at regionals, the Region 5 swim meet here, and I made top 16 at the state high school meet in 4 events.
My name is Chase Baldwin.
How long have you been swimming?
I've been swimming for about 8 years now.
How did you get started in swimming?
I got started swimming, my cousin was actually a swimmer and he got me into it because he was always older than me and I looked up to him, so he kind of got me into it.
Alright, who do you swim for?
I swim for Bluegrass, Marlins, swim for Roger Kurt and Richmond.
Alright, tell me what you like about swimming.
I like swimming because it's a good way to express myself, and it's time to think and let out energy, and it's a good way to stay in shape.
Alright, what kind of team do you think y'all have in Madison County?
I think we'll have a very good team this year. We've got a good older leaders, and we've got some really good swimmers coming this year, and it's just gonna be really good.
Less resistance. So approach and time. Approach and time.
Morgan Lakes.
How long have you been swimming?
Since I was 6.
How did you get started in swimming?
I came home from school one afternoon and decided I want to be a part of the swim team.
Alright, give me some awards that you've won.
High point when I was 9 years old at the Kentucky State meet, when I was 11 and 12 at the Kentucky State meet, and 13-14 this past year at the Long Course State meet.
Alright, what kind of team do you think you all have this year?
I think it will be a wonderful team with our new swimmers, our new team since we've joined Bluegrass, and our coach is wonderful and is very hard, which I think will help.
Ready, go.
My name is John Babuka.
What grade are you in?
I'm in 8th grade.
How long have you been swimming?
I've been swimming for about 8 years.
How did you get started in swimming?
Well, my sister was involved with COLA and Coach Cahill when I was 5 years old, and I decided that I wanted to do it. So my mom signed me up, and then the next day I was complaining to my mom that I wanted to quit because the coach made me use all my muscles. And so that's how I got started.
Alright, give me some awards that you won.
Well, I was state champion for like 4 years, and I got a state record in the 25 breaststroke and the 8 numbers.
Alright, what kind of team do you think you all have this year?
Well, I think our team will be really good. Like in high school swimming, I think we can really actually almost like get top 5 in the state, which is a big deal because Central's never even, in boys, never even got like top 7 or anything. So.
Underneath. Like this. Yeah.
Mitchell Collins.
Grade you in?
9th.
How long have you been swimming?
This will be my 3rd year.
How did you get started in swimming?
A friend introduced me to this team.
Alright, tell me some of the awards that you've won.
I've won 3rd place regional title and state titles.
What kind of team do you think you all have this year?
I think we'll have a strong team this year.
Bring your knees up to your chest. Bring your knees up to your chest. So approach, top.
We'd like to thank our sponsors: Luxury Pets, the home of the happy dogs; the law firm of Luxon and Patterson; Riptide on the River Restaurant; Hopper's Jewelry; Jerry Goebel State Farm Insurance Richmond; Dr. Dan Sipples Chiropractic Healthcare; Central Bank; Williams Tax and Financial Services; Regal Beagle Downtown Richmond; ERA Professional Hometown Services; Hall & Sons Auto Care; Be a children's champion. Reynolds Plumbing. Skipworth Veterinary Clinic. Super Save. Sight Savers Family Eye Care. Mackenzie Morgan Music. Davenport Custom Guitars, your local repair connection. First Gear in Richmond. Guardian Bank, home of the $250 deal. Listen to The John Clark Show on WWAG Radio, real country playing stars and legends.
Welcome back to Riptide on the River. We'd like to thank our sponsors Luxon Patterson, Luxury Pets, Hopper's Jewelry, and Waffle House. Coach, let's take a look at some more opponents down the road. We'll take a look now at Paul Lawrence Dunbar. Give us your feeling on what to expect when we face the Bulldogs from Dunbar.
Well, they're kind of in the same boat that we've been in. They've been down the last few years, but they got a new football coach, and I know that they're excited about a new start, a new beginning, and you know, any time that you know, we're going over there to play them over there. So anytime that you have to go on the road, it's a different experience. You know, you know, we went on the road to Mercer County and forgot our camera. So you know, there's just so many things that you have to do and prepare for when you go on the road, that it's just a break in the ordinary. Right. When you're at home, everything's there. You don't have to worry about getting anything because it's already there. But when you go on the road, your kids have to think about packing all their stuff, and they forget stuff. I'll tell them to triple and quadruple check everything, but it seems like somebody's always forgetting something, whether it be a cleat, a mouthpiece, a helmet. You'd be amazed at what they forget. So Dunbar will be one of those, they're looking at our game thinking, hey, we can beat these guys, you know. So they're going to be fired up to play us, and we've got to go in there and play full 4 quarters of hard-nosed football. Our defense has been getting turnovers for us. We hope that continues. They have, you know, last year I think we intercepted 3 passes, and in 3 ball games this year we've intercepted 7. And in the whole season last year we'd intercepted 3. So our defense is so much better than it was last year. So hopefully we can go in there, and I know they like to spread it out some and throw the football around. They got a heck of a tailback that we're going to have to contain. He's extremely fast and strong, and so it's going to be a challenge. There's no question about that.
What do a lot of coaches say when you go on the road? Sometimes it kind of brings back or brings into some family or unity because it's you all against everybody in the stands and Dunbar. Does that help in some aspects sometimes?
I think it does sometimes. You know, you get into a situation where you are in a hostile environment and you're at somebody else's place, and I think sometimes you can, it can be sometimes easier to focus because you're on that bus, you're riding over there, you know, we're not talking on the bus, we're relaxing, thinking about what we have to do. So sometimes it can play to your advantage because the focus factor is simply because you jump on that bus, you cross the Kentucky River. We're sitting under Clay's Ferry right now, and our kids are thinking about what they have to do in the ball game.
Right. Do you go in, let's say you're getting ready to play Dunbar, you're meeting with your offensive unit. Mm-hmm. Do you all have a scripted number of plays before you even go out on the field?
Well, I usually like to script the first 20. You know, and I know from studying film all week and putting it into our computer and getting our percentages out for what they're doing blitzing, what they're doing front-wise, what they're playing in the secondary, all those kind of things. So I'll sit down usually Wednesday night by myself and look at my grease board up there that I've got all their stuff drawn up on and their percentages up, and try to script plays to see. First of all, I'll always like to put some motion in there to see how they're going to respond, how they're going to shift to motion, if they're going to be doing what they're doing in the previous games. See if, you know, we zip the receiver, zack the receiver, or the tight end and yak motion or whatever, and just to see if they're staying consistent with what they've been doing previously. So that gives me an idea of some things to call once I see just what they're doing early. So I always like to get some stuff in there just to see how they're going to respond for different formations, so that from that point on I know, well, they're probably going to be in this front. They're probably going to be in this coverage.
Let's give the folks a little bit of an inside view of, we talked about how we're going to start the game. You play the first half, you go into the locker room, you're making halftime adjustments. What does the inside of Madison Central's locker room look like at halftime? Do you split up offense, defense? How does that look?
Yeah, well, now that we're an offense and a defense now, we practice like a college. Of course, we share kids. We probably have 8 or 9 kids that play both ways. You know, we start almost 20 players, different players. So what we do is we'll break up. As a coaching staff, we'll come in and stand outside there and talk about the things that I think we need to do, and get our offensive things talked about, our defensive things talked about for just a minute or two.
Right.
You know, I might say something to this coach or that coach about, you need to talk to this kid about this or that kid about that. We go in there, we split up, we get on the board, we talk about some things, and you know, I usually will talk to the kids before we do that for a minute or two, probably less, and then we split up and get on the grease board and start drawing up, asking the kids what they're seeing. You know, we get a lot of that on the sideline too, because we come to the sideline and the offense comes to the sideline when they're not on the field. We sit down, I get on the grease board, I say, what are you seeing? What's the 5 technique doing to you? What's the 7 technique doing? What's the 3 doing? Are they slanting? What are you seeing? How's this kid playing against you? What do you think you can do? So there's a lot of things that you can do in that locker room that on the sideline you can't do as much.
Right.
You can do some things, but in that locker room, you basically, you know, you'll have 10 minutes, 9 minutes to talk to them and tell them about the things that we're gonna do.
Right.
That's the big thing. Make some adjustments. Hey, if they do this, we're going to do that, or we're going to run this play, we're going to run that play. So, you know, you try to get in there as quick as possible and get things going, and depending on the situation, you either reassuring them about things or talking to them about things they need to do better.
As an offensive coordinator before that you've been, what's the difference between, for the folks watching our show here, between being up in the booth and down on the field? What's the difference between those two?
For me, I always like to be on the field. Now, when I was calling offense in college, I was up in the booth, which that can be good and it can be bad in some aspects, because you want to get down there and you want to be able to talk to kids. But as a head coach, you need to be down there. But it's really one of those things I see pretty much everything anyway, because I try to stand behind the defense and look. And if people make tackles, I know if, say, for instance, the Sam linebacker made the tackle, I know who didn't make the block, because I know who's supposed to be blocking that guy. So I know who everybody's supposed to be blocking. So, you know, I know who to get on and who to tell what to do and all that stuff. If the 3 technique makes the tackle, I know who's supposed to be blocking him. So, you know, it can be a little bit different up top, because you can see better. There's no question about that. But it's a give and take thing. If you're up top, you're not down there physically with them, and you can't talk to them as much. You know, kid comes off the sideline in college, you know, we'll have headsets for them to talk to me when I was a coordinator in college. But it's much better to be down on the field, I think, and hands-on.
Well, Coach, we gave an inside view, I guess, for the folks who've not been on the sidelines before, and that's a good way for them to look at how football is different instead of just looking on the outside. But appreciate your time, and good luck next week against the Bulldogs.
Thank you.
We'll be right back after this. We're going to look at some players from Madison Central.
Matt Chenault, running back.
Jordan Cornelison, middle linebacker. Paul Couch, defensive end.
Chris Couch, tight end.
I'm Austin Coyle, and I play strong safety and tailback.
Thomas Crump, wide receiver. Logan Cruz, free safety.
Deontay Goggins, middle linebacker.
This segment is brought to you by the National Guard.
Welcome back to Riptide on the River and the Bert Browne Show. We'd like to thank our sponsors, Madison County Schools and Time Warner Cable. Coach, looking at the first 3 weeks of the season, looks like the offense have scored 69 points so far and the defense have given up 77. What are some positives you could take from each of those, and what are some things you need to work on down the line?
Well, I think offensively, one of the things about offense takes a little bit longer to gel than defense. Offensively, we're getting better every week. Our kids are getting better up front every week. And I think our kids are understanding what we're trying to do and offensively. And you know, we've got some guys that are new. And so I really think the positive offensively is we are getting better every week. And like I told the kids in our film session after the Scott County game, go through here and look at all the things you know that we did positive, and then look at all the things that we could, that it's not a matter of, you know, we just got outmanned here, this or that. It's a matter of we've got to do this better, you know, just a little bit better, and look what happens. You know, if we just hold that block just a half a second longer, look at that. Or if we run that ball right here, look what happens. Or if we read this option right here, look what happens. And those are all things that can be improved on. That's not something that, you know, it's like, well, if you can't do a 360 and dunk that ball, you're beat. You know, it's something that you can actually improve on. Defensively, I think the biggest thing about our defense is getting turnovers. Right. We've had so many, just done a great job of getting turnovers. And of course, when you go into a double overtime game, there's going to be points scored. So we've given up a few more points there just simply because we basically played an extra quarter, really.
Right.
But I think that our kids are getting better. They're starting to understand everything we're trying to do, and this the process of it. And you know, I'm excited about both sides of the football. I really am.
Defensively, you talk about getting some batted balls, getting some interceptions, picking up some fumbles. 7 through 3 weeks is fantastic. Is it attacking the ball, being more aggressive, knowing their assignments? Is it all those things, or?
Well, I think it gets our schemes better. You know, we got a great coaching staff that's coaching our kids up. You know, and I really believe also that the fact that we've split this thing offensively and defensively, because, you know, we've got some kids that go both ways, but say we've got Randy Neely, who just plays offense, and Sean Rosanbalm, who just plays defense. All right, and then you might have Bo Smith, who plays both. Well, you two guys are getting so much better than you would be because you're getting double the practice time on one side of the football. And you know, we got some guys that are pretty exceptional that are playing both ways, and we split time in practice with those guys. That they're still getting a lot of reps both sides of the football, but their emphasis might be on the defensive side, or their emphasis might be on the offensive side, where they play both of them, but not maybe as much. But somebody like you that's just playing one side of the ball all practice long, he's practicing offense. You know, you're practicing offense. It's going to make you a much better player, especially as the weeks progress. And I think that that's what we'll see. You talked about what you see in your progression. I think that's what you're going to see as we go about this, is we're just going to get better and better, and so much better because of that.
Well, to piggyback on that, I guess you'd say as the numbers grow, your football program grows, you got a whole lot more kids that can play only defense and only offense.
And my goal is to have 60 freshmen every year. And we can do that. We've got 3 feeder schools, and we should have that. We should have 60 boys out playing football. You know, we get to the junior high games when we can. You know, I try to get out and watch those guys play, and you know, there's a lot of times where I'll just be able to come for 20 or 30 minutes because I got to get back, watch film, script practice, do all those kind of things, preparing for the next day and preparing for Friday night. But we need all the boys. Football is a numbers game. You know, you have those big numbers, that helps you tremendously because, first of all, we're playing more kids than we have in the past because more kids are getting to start, more kids are getting to play doing this, what we're doing. And when we get this thing like I want it, and we've got 60 or 70 freshmen, you know, there were 72 freshmen on my freshman football team at Madison Central. Well, now we've got 3 junior highs. We ought to have 70, 60, 70 kids. And that's my job as a coach, and our assistant coach's job as a coach, to cultivate that, go out and recruit those kids at those junior highs and get them to the high school and that they're going to play football.
Being a former middle school coach, certainly not football, but basketball, girls and boys, it means a lot to the kids, to the coach, to the parents, that the high school coach comes and watches, see what's going on. Because as you well know, a lot of the football programs that are successful, they tend to run the same offense, run the same defense. So they got 3 years of learning your system before they even go to Madison Central.
That is a big deal, and our junior high coaches do a good job of that. And like I told them, I want them to run our stuff, but hey, you want to throw a wrinkle in there and do some different things, that's fine. But our guys need to know from the 6th grade to 5th grade and on up what we're doing, how we're our terminology and everything, so when they get to the high school, it's just like clockwork to them. And that's what all the great football schools, their feeder programs are great. You know, me and Coach Kidd were talking last year when I got the job, and you know, he was talking about when he got the job at Madison. He's from Corbin. He went down to Corbin and talked to those guys about what they did, and the big thing was the feeder system. And Coach Kidd got them going at the feeder system at the little level, and got those guys running everything that he wanted them to run. And by the time they got to the high school, they knew what was. There was no downtime trying to teach. You know, it wasn't this right here, it was this right here. Right. You know, they weren't having to spend 3 weeks of teaching terminology and guys going, oh, I didn't know that's what you did on that play, because they've been doing it.
Right. Well, you're still in the infancy of your program, a year and 3 weeks in. So I think it's going to be great for the folks of Madison County to watch it grow as we go forward.
I hope so.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
And thanks for watching the Bert Browne Show. If you'd like to watch on the web, you can tune into MadisonCentralFootball.com, or you can turn to Madison County Schools Channel 9 as well. Thanks again.
The Bert Browne Show is the property of Rosanbalm Communications, and distribution and recordings by any means is prohibited. To order quality copies of the program, please visit RosenbaumCommunications.com for information.